for this. I just didn't have the chance to say goodbye to Amir Oren, who just left the building without saying goodbye and without saying thank you. Thank you very much for Amir Oren, and also right now joining me here in the studio. I will say again, good evening to Malik Shafir. Thank you for staying with me, and also good evening to with me Colonel in the reserves, Dr. Moshe Elad, former head of the security coordination with the Palestinian Authority. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. So we just were talking about Israelis and the Palestinians, and how much this is, of course, this current situation, about the coordination between Gaza and Israel. Let's start putting things into order. We know that there is this the coordination between Israel and the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, in the West Bank. We know that there is a certain understanding or cooperation or coordination, let's call it, with the Palestinian government in the Gaza Strip. Gathering information from the West Bank, it's not the same like gathering information in the Gaza Strip. We know that Israel already had some kind of understanding with Hamas. What is the current situation right now in this current crisis? Because it seems that nobody is talking to nobody, or I'm wrong, and actually there are some talks behind the scenes.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think that we have so-called security coordination or even collaboration, as it appears to be in the West Bank. With the Palestinian Authority, we have very good coordination and cooperation since '95 in all kind of areas, security, intelligence, and so on. With the people of Hamas, there used to be kind of coordination in terms of economy. For example, somebody should get, all these 300 trailers daily that are passing through. So you have to talk to somebody. There used to be so-called the Palestinian Authority representative. However, they are fully Hamas member, and we used to talk to them, and we used to cooperate with them, while at times we're a little bit more quiet. Today, I don't think we have any kind of negotiation or any kind of contact in terms of security. However, don't forget that with the Gilad Shalit case, we have a very good relationship at that time. Few times later and earlier, we had some contact with the Palestinian. It used to be a very direct, but the people of Egypt were there in the room, but the talks were very direct. So now we don't have somebody who is going to broker, any kind of agreement. So maybe we'll be able to do it by ourselves, the two sides, but I believe it will be after quiet will be in the room.
Mr. Shafir, can you try to even start thinking about certain understanding or certain, let's say, cooperation or certain getting back things into business with the Palestinians in this current situation?
When you have two neighbors who have a high wall between them, and they have a common interest of some kind of an understanding on who throws stones at whose house. After the air comes out of the balloons on both sides, and people get used to the fact that we're at a stalemate, we're not going anywhere, then it's a question of psychology and the way adult people behave after they're done with first emotional response. It takes a few days. So the next thing that will happen probably in 3 or 4 days is that Israel will feel that we have caused enough damage to the other side so that some kind of an appeasement move can be tolerated by ourselves. And I think the Gazans who feel that the actual fact that they've been able to shoot a missile, maybe even without a warhead, but it reached the outskirts of Haifa, maybe for them is a sign of a victory, because it means that they've been able to inflict damage to the Israeli society. And after a few days, they're ready to come to terms. And as we know, we got to this conflict without either side intentionally going into it. So obviously both sides have an interest in leveraging what they've done already. The Palestinian suffering does not carry through in Europe, maybe not even in the Arab world. And I think since both sides have no interest in continuation, there will come some kind of a brinkmanship. Doesn't matter whether it's through Egypt or somebody else.
You know, I want to take you both. We'll go to see what is happening in Ashdod, and then I want to take you both because both of you spoke about the fact that this is a different culture. We're talking about the other side thinking totally different than the Israelis, thinking in a totally different way, and it's a different culture than the Israeli culture. It's just before we will speak about the cultural differences between the Israelis and the Palestinians, I want to take you, our viewers, to the city of Ashdod, around 35 kilometers north of Gaza Strip. Once again finds itself in the firing line as the missiles fly from the Gaza Strip. I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalet has more.
Nothing less than a miracle in the southern city of Ashdod this morning. The huge blaze that erupted early this morning following a rocket attack on a gas station could have caused tragic casualties, but luck and discipline prevented a horrific outcome.
When the first alarm started, we managed to evacuate over 100 customers to the station's shelter. Then the second alarm started and a big explosion was heard. Then all the fire started.
After a tense night with ongoing barrages of rocket fire, the morning opened with another massive rocket attack. Most of the rockets were intercepted by the Iron Dome system. But one hit a gas station, causing a large fire. The station was full of drivers fueling their vehicles. Most of them quickly abandoned their cars and took shelter, as the government directions order. The rocket ignited a gasoline container, setting a nearby car on fire, in which a handicapped driver was trapped and couldn't escape alone. He had to be pulled out from the car and was severely wounded. 7 others were lightly hurt.
This will not be tolerated. Israel is strong enough and the Israeli public is strong enough in order to make this disappear. Hamas should know we will not stand still while they're shooting at our citizens.
Shortly after the attack, the Israeli Air Force struck the rocket launcher in Gaza that fired the barrage. But the terrorists who operated it were gone by the time the IDF hit.
Okay, so we just talked and we said that the cultural differences between the Israelis and the Palestinians are enormous, or really, really small in a surprising way, because Israelis and Palestinians really do act and look and live alike. But each and every time that I've been trying to make this side or this side to understand the other side, you will always hear the same phrases. You will hear from the Palestinians, yes, but you won't even hear yes. You will hear the Israeli occupation. And what do the Israelis expect? Because we're living under occupation. And from the Israeli side, you will hear the frustration. How come the Palestinians are not getting out on the streets and demanding that Hamas will stop acting the way that they're acting? What do these two people don't understand about each other and how come the common sense that I believe that we have, that this side you cannot look at the other side and the way that you're looking at yourself?
This is what makes very difficult, Broca's work, because look, in a basic way, I would say that those people are fighting on the same piece of land. Unlike Israeli and Jordanians, unlike Israeli and Egyptian, we are talking about the same territory, and there's no compromise from both sides on this territory. And this happens probably 100 years ago. Now, in this term, I would put also the Palestinian Authority, because they are the same Palestinian people. It's not something different.
No, when I spoke about the Palestinian people,
Yeah.
I meant the Gazans and the West Bank.
I'm following this society about 25 years, and I never, maybe more, I don't remember, or I've never thought that, one day some people, so-called from the left of the Palestinian side, will rise and say something, on the opposite. They are protecting their leaders all the time. They're trying to tell them how good they are, sometimes by force, sometimes by, indifference, don't care about what's going on. So to expect such a culture as in a democratic state, it's a little bit too high for these people. What can be done, and actually it was done in the past, is trying to bring so-called people-to-people movements, grassroots organization, which will try to, to bridge this gap. It's a very huge gap. You mentioned this gap.
Yes.
I know, I'm living with Palestinians so many years, and I know from both sides of the...
but you're living with Palestinians for so many years, and you know how the Palestinians are. They're just like the Israelis.
Let me interject for a second. Both sides have two problems that cultural problems. One of them is victimization. As Israelis, we carry with us the victimization of the Holocaust. Even myself, I'm named after my grandfather who died in the Holocaust. So we carry this feeling, and all of a sudden, the Palestinians are trying to say that they're victims as well, which is take away my victimization into their hands. And look at it objectively, they are victims.
They're not blaming.
They are victims. And they have every right to feel so. But this is a crisis of who is more of a victim. So it's an ability to see the other side. Look in the mirror, see yourself, understand yourself, and understand the other side. So I would say that the first thing is self-reflection. Understand yourself, understand your inhibitions. And the second one, are you able to contain the suffering of somebody else? Which is play chess, get into the other side of the game and understand the other person's interests and see where you can give off some of your interests to make sure that your neighbor has dignity and has space. That is one thing that we need to learn. Another thing is religion. When each side has God working for him and doesn't recognize the right of the other side's God to work, this is a major barrier on understanding where each side claims that God is working for him and he owes this and that. So it takes strength of the people and the more moderate people who understand that we need to look at the other side's interests and understand where we have to bridge that interest.
Let's try this, what you just said, with Maysoon El-Kasmi from Hebron. Good evening, journalist and family activist. Good evening. Do you hear me?
Good evening.
So,
Good evening.
Maysoon, can you try to look at the situation not through the Palestinians' eyes, but through the Israelis' eyes, and not try to point a blaming finger towards the Israelis? And I'm asking the same things, believe me, to the Israelis. I'm just right now asking you, can you see the current situation, the Palestinians or the activists or more modern people, through the eyes of the Israelis? 14 years under rocket attacks from the Gaza Strip is not something that Israel can stay silent on.
First of all, just I want to mention very important thing that the Palestinians now under the collective punishment, and that's mean the civilian people are paid more and more, especially the women and the children. What we are seeing now that we try to be the quiet area in the Middle East, especially in Palestine and Israel in Gaza. Usually when Israel attacked and gave collective punishment, especially in Gaza, like a war and very difficult situation, who paid more than any people who are, let's say, under who want to punish by Israel from Israel, the civilian people. We are looking now how we are suffering, and now the Israel people are also, when they saw the rockers are, and you can see the psychological emotion for all the people in the street in Israel. We see when the rockets are coming, and I want to ask the Israeli people, can you imagine how is the situation for the civilian people in Gaza? Under the bomb, big bomb, or the housing demolition, or damage to the infrastructure. This is the way, and they know that there is a rocket are coming in Israel, but in Gaza nobody knows. When the people are sleeping, they coming and attack the civilian people. That's why we must have to see the situation by our human people. And now
So let me ask you something else.
Okay.
Let's look at it from this way. Let's say that Israel is doing wrong, and of course the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip don't have any sirens, and they don't know when Israel is going to attack, although Israel is giving a notice before they're attacking, and asking the people that if they are hiding in certain civilian places to not to just get out of their houses. I am agreeing with you. The situation on the Gaza Strip is not like the situation in Israel, but you find it really normal that terrorists hide under civilian houses and by that hurt the same people that they are trying to protect? Do you think that this is something that is normal, that these terrorists are actually making the Palestinian people lose their lives?
Let's say usually Israel say that I defend by myself. Usually this is the media speech for the Israeli. And let's say, who knows, there is a terrorist, as you say, as you tell us about this is a terrorist. No, I'm just to say they attack the civilian mostly. I don't hear that any one martyr are a terrorist. Most are the people who didn't hide with the civilian people. Yes.
Maysoon, me and you are really both two intelligent women. We cannot say that we are don't know the reality, and we are not coping with the reality, and we don't understand the reality. We know exactly that these missiles are on the backyard of Palestinian civilians. They are targeting and they're putting the rockets in the neighborhood where civilians and innocent people are living. We are talking about people, your own people, hurting you. So try to explain to me, because this is something that I cannot understand, how a person is able to put a missile inside a family's house with babies and children and women. This is something that I cannot understand.
But I don't have anything that tell me that there is a terrorist people there. They killed the civilian people. I still say that the collective punishment are coming under what we call it is about the security, Israeli security. The people who you are call it a terrorist people or whatever, they didn't stay in the houses, but Israel say that I want to damage every house belong to Hamas. This is what we are saying. But Hamas have a family. Why they are paid this very high paid, and they killed the civilians. Even if if he has a wife or a children, why you damage the houses when the people are asleep? As most of the family, they killed a family, not one person. You know, this night, the last night, we can't understand that seven person from the same family and 5 person from the same family. What's gone? Why you banished all the people like this way? I agree that I need a peace. I'm calling a peace. I am a member in Women International League for Peace and Freedom in Palestinian section, and I high my voice that leave the civilian people alone. Don't punish all the people. Don't make a connective punishment. And this is our message as a Palestinian. We are suffering now, and this is make a push for the Palestinian people on all the street in West Bank and Gaza, that where we are going, our roads are closed now.
Maysoon, I wish I wish that me and you could have solved this situation just from here. I wish.
I hope.
Maysoon Al-Kasmi, thank you very much for this. This is so frustrating. This is a frustrating situation because I'm trying
but
to.
I can understand her.
Of course I can understand her. Of course I can understand her because you cannot go and say on TV, yes, of course they are hiding in our houses and it's a really messed up situation that we cannot do nothing about.
I can understand her emotional situation and I need to sympathize with the way she looks at things. But I think after things cool down a little bit and Maysoon will look at the numbers and we'll look at the fact that even in houses of Hamas leaders, they were told beforehand that their houses are going to be demolished. And this is part of the psychological war. And they had a chance to get out. And I think the Israeli Air Force went into great length to make sure they're coming out. It doesn't succeed every time, but at least the effort is there. And I think in hindsight, when you look at a war and the number of casualties, that some of them are inevitable, you will see that at least the wish was there